we literally go to the gym every single day or 4 or 5 times a week, and we're working on our muscles and we're getting our physical strength much stronger. But how much time are we focusing on getting our brain stronger? Not
Let's go.
you know what I mean? Not much. And this is the most vital organ in
Yeah.
our system. Without this, there's no brain, there's no physical body. And so, in order, to fully focus on ourselves, we need to train this organ up here. And that starts with in the morning creating some sort of routine. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to the Alliance podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nikhil Sharma, and I'm so grateful to have you all here with us today. In today's topic, we're going to be talking about focus and how to improve our ADHD. Joining me today is my amazing co-hosts. We got Kevin Drummond, who's a growth and mindset expert. What's up, bro?
What's going on? What's going on? I'm happy to jump into it. Dr. Nick, Chris, let's
What's up?
go. Let's
Let's
get it.
go. Yeah, and we have Chris, who is our health and fitness coach. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? How y'all feeling?
Doing good, man. How are you feeling? You moved out to Atlanta, man. How are things?
It's fresh. Got some nature going, man. No chairs, so we're out here on our feet, but I'm on my feet, right? I'm blessed.
100, man. But look, let's talk about focus. This is something that I know I've struggled with for a long time, ever since I was a young, hyper little kid. I was known as the Tylenol kid because I would just be like running around the house and wanting to do all these different little things, and like my cousins used to call me that because after hanging out with me, they felt like they needed to take some Tylenol, just to kind of alleviate all the headaches
Didn't
I
know
was
you were
giving
taking
them.
it
I don't know if I shared that with y'all, but it's something that I certainly struggle with my entire life is how to remain focused. And I've even been diagnosed at one point with like ADHD, and then I was on medications for ADHD, like Ritalin and Adderall, and then all that did was, I feel caused me to be a little bit more hyper and cause my nervous system to be all out of whack. I wasn't sleeping well at nighttime because of those medications, and it just threw off my whole system. And so I love this idea of how do we get ourselves to become focused, because there's so many distractions in the world today. Number one being our cell phone. Number two, just allowing ourselves to be distracted. We have the power, but oftentimes we are just using our energy in too many different places, and we're really not focusing on one. So, how do we focus?
Man, I love the fact that you said we have the power. And I think that's one of the answers that I can kind of help with is being intentional. Like you have the power to have focus by adding more intentionality. So like me, I am you, Nick. Like I was diagnosed with everything you could imagine, ADHD being one of them. That was actually in fourth grade. And I remember specifically because when they said it was actually a recommendation from a teacher. It wasn't even from a doctor. It was a teacher that said, "Hey, like your son, like he has issues. Like he can't focus. He's constantly talking in class. Like he doesn't listen. Like he's being a disturbance." And she pointed towards it being a focus issue. At the time, though, it's because of everything that was happening at home. There was such like lack of stability between like what was happening between like my parents, what was happening between me not feeling seen, right? Me having to go over and beyond just to feel acknowledged and valued. So when I went to school, I felt like I was on stage. I was trying to get attention. I wanted people to like me. I wanted validation. It wasn't a focus issue. It was a worthiness issue. It was a how do I feel about myself? And because I didn't feel comfortable and confident, I'm doing these things in the classroom, and they thought that was attention deficit disorder. But luckily, my mom was like, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. I thank my mom for that. But it was something that I dealt with throughout my life. As far as like, what can you do about focus? Like intention. Like when you start your day, what do you want to get accomplished today? Just make something small. Like I want to go on a walk outside for at least 5 minutes. Imagine if you knock that out in your first 5 to 10 minutes of the day, you're gonna feel amazing. And if you continue to just set one little intention every single day, it'll add to your focus. And then you can start adding more intentions. And I think just starting small instead of trying to like conquer the world like within one day, because I know I'm guilty of that. I want to do everything right now. And I think we're in that instant gratification era right now, especially with social media. But just being intentional and just taking one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, that would be my suggestion as far as focus.
I agree, actually. I believe we need to take things one step at a time. So I was just talking to my girl yesterday about how we dream really big and we know exactly what we want to accomplish, and that's like the pinnacle. But then we disregard everything that we need to do on the way there. And now our focus is spread thin. We know where we want to get to, but we're focused on so much at once. And we're
Hmm.
focused on things that aren't necessarily tangible. Like you can't jump from here to there without actually putting the work in and being intentional about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when I think about focus, I tend to focus on so many external things that are happening in my life. And when I realized I needed to make a big change, that change and focus had to first come to myself, understanding who I am, becoming more self aware. And when I did that, that's when the magic started happening. I started realizing that, my focus was on too many things happening at one point. I realized that I'm an Enneagram type 7. And so that was my tool that I used to help with self awareness. And being a type 7 is an enthusiast. And an enthusiast is somebody who always looks at the grass is always greener on the other side. And so I would tend to pick up on multiple different projects all at once. And how that showed up in my life, I was a doctor. And then I started a company called like YOLO with my two friends. In the meantime, I hadn't left the hospital and I was trying to do something else. So I'm trying to juggle two things at once. And that just led to me, crashing and burning and not being able to do good on any of those two things. So it came to me at that point that, look, I need to refocus the attention on myself. And I needed to start small and how to focus. So I did one action where I would do my laundry. I would start my laundry. I would put it in the washer. I would then move it to the dryer. And then once it was done with the dryer, I would put it in a laundry basket and fold my clothes and put them away all in the same day. And
That's smart.
doing that one action again and again and again built up this uh, you know it built up a sense of accomplishment within me, realizing like, boom, I did my laundry today and now I can move on to the next step. Otherwise, in the past, I would be like, all right, let me start my laundry. Okay, let me go run some errands real quick. All right, when I come back home, I need to work on this project. Oh, and then I'm too tired now. I need to go to bed. Meanwhile, my cold clothes are still waiting for me in the washer the next morning, and now I have to redo the laundry again.
That's smart. You're creating habits of completion. Because someone listening to this would be like, wait, so he's doing his laundry, but what he just explained was he started a task and brought it to completion before starting another one. Like you're programming your brain that you're not moving on from what you started until it's brought to completion, and you took it to a task that's very manageable that you're not going to get overwhelmed about, and you use that as a way for your brain to have a model to apply it to everything else in your life. That's genius, and that's something that's doable. Like everyone has laundry to do. That's something that you can act on. I love it.
And the most important part of that was eliminating any other project that I needed to start. I just focused on one thing and eliminated all the other noise that was out there. Then slowly, step by step, I started adding other things, to my daily schedule that I needed to be able to accomplish. And based on that positive feedback, it would allow me to finish more tasks that I had set out to do that day. The key is
Smart.
to start it and finish it, when you intend to do so, and eliminating the noise and distraction that is around you. And that only starts by when you focus on yourself and realizing what you are capable of doing. And so you're not over expending yourself and draining our valuable energy on projects and not being able to accomplish any of them with precision.
Man. And that's why you're a doctor, because it's a simple thing that's going to have such a large impact on people's lives. Like
Hmm.
that, I would say like over 90% of the people who are listening to this would be able to say that they've had an issue with procrastination or not finishing things and not bringing them to completion. And now you just gave them something that's actionable that they can apply today, that they can just have to repeat over and over and over again, and they'll be able to see the difference in their lives. I love it.
It'll build up it'll build up a positive momentum. It'll just
Hmm.
build up that head of steam. We have this issue with multitasking that does not serve us. You know, there's no way that we can possibly focus on more than one thing at a time and bring our best self to each and every single one of those things. So I love the idea of doing one thing at a time and then doing it to completion, because who wants to come back and do the laundry the day after? Like it's kind of lugging baggage, but if we just get things done, we accomplish these things. Like, I think that's incredible. And that's actually something I'm practicing right now too, is doing one thing at a time, taking time away from my cell phone, taking time away from having 3 to 4 conversations at once while working, while parenting, while, you know what I mean? Just only focusing on that one thing. And you notice, like, you feel a lot better too. You feel lighter.
Boom. I love that you
Yeah.
said that. You feel lighter. You are working on one thing at a time. For me, that comes back to training our brain. What kind of work are we doing on that on a daily basis? We literally go to the gym every single day or 4 or 5 times a week, and we're working on our muscles and we're getting our physical strength much stronger. But how much time are we focusing on getting our brain stronger? Not
Let's go.
you know what I mean? Not much. And this is the most vital organ in
Yeah.
our system. Without this, there's no brain, there's no physical body. And so, in order, to fully focus on ourselves, we need to train this organ up here. And that starts with in the morning creating some sort of routine. uh, and that routine has to be something that resonates with you and something that you can do, and you can manage. And that routine is different from everybody else. And so for me, that routine is waking up in the morning and understanding that, hey, my cortisol is going to be really high right now. My adrenaline hormone is really high right now. So my brain is really excitatory. So I need to avoid looking at more excitatory things that's going to cause my brain waves to get all out of whack. Right. And so you have to realize it takes a couple hours for that to readjust. So I need to avoid my cell phone. I need to avoid the TV. I need to just be
Yeah.
focusing on myself for the next couple hours as I'm waking up. Let's see what's going on in my subconscious this morning. Let me meditate and listen to myself for a little bit. What are the thoughts that are running through my head? Do I need to address these thoughts? All right, let me go for a little
Oh,
bit of a
yeah.
walk. You know,
Yep.
So
I,
these are
I want to, I'm so sorry to cut you
no,
off,
you're
but
not.
you just said that. Yo, you're on fire.
He
Nick,
is. He doesn't realize it. He
you,
is. He
like,
is.
you said, what's going on in my subconscious? How often, like, I'm pretty sure we've all been there when you realize that you haven't actually sat with your thoughts, sometimes in weeks, and it's like, wait, I've been on this roller coaster. I need to stop, and you feel so done just over the world because you haven't done that. You haven't taken 5 minutes, is all it can take. Take 5 minutes to just say, where am I at today? I'm just going to sit here, breathe, and look outside and just establish where I'm at. Just be in the now. And that goes such a long way. I'm reading this book right now, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard of it. Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon
Oh,
Hill.
let's go. Love it. One of my favorites. One of my
Yes, this is my first time reading it. I've never read it. Um,
amazing book.
it's so freaking good. Like, and he speaks about being a drifter. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
you know. Yeah, I was a drifter, and
Same.
I was reading it feeling triggered. Being a drifter is, we spoke about procrastination a couple minutes ago. Being a drifter is saying, you have to get something done, but you're spread so thin that you don't know what to focus on. You're trying to do everything at once, and then what do? You procrastinate on everything. And now you're
Yeah.
drifting. And now you're not accomplishing anything. And now it's that negative downhill momentum.
Exactly. You start feeling guilt. You start feeling shame that you weren't able to finish the things that you had set out to finish. And you feel like you let other people down. And then what happens? That starts creating this cycle of negative thoughts, and you're in a lot of pain. And what do you do with pain? We don't like being in pain. We like to suppress and numb that pain. And how do we do that? We get onto social media real quick. We start shopping. And then all of a sudden, our focus is even worse than it was in the beginning, right? We are just in this repetitive cycle of negative thought patterns, all because we weren't able to, for one moment, set out intentionally to focus on one project.
I have a question for y'all. And maybe this will be helpful for the viewers too. How do you work your way up to sitting with yourself? Because for the person that's like, man, I don't have time, or there's so much going on, I'm super stressed. How do you work up to that, to just say, you know what, I'm gonna take a step back and I'm just gonna breathe?
I mean, I'll give you my answer. This is something that I do randomly every now and then. I don't know when I started it, but I'll look at my 24 hours and I'll say, okay, where's all my time going? Uh, this was a strategy that I started using when someone that was mentoring me said, Kevin, do you value yourself? I'm like, yeah, I value myself. It's like, okay, you realize how much hours you have in a day? And I was like, yeah, 24. It's like, okay, do you know where all of your time goes? I was like, yeah, if I would think about it, I would. Okay, so think about it. So he made me sit there and think about, okay, where is all of my time going? And then I looked at every single moment of my day and what I was doing and whether or not it was pushing me in the direction that I wanted to go. And in that, I guess really it was like a 10 to 15-minute conversation. Like I realized that, wow, like sitting with myself and thinking about where I'm putting my time made me feel so much better because now I'm like, you know what, Kevin, like your time is valuable. That's all you have is time. So it's like be intentional about where you're putting it, who you're spending it with. Um, it allows you to cut ties with people that aren't adding value to your life, that are causing you more stress, more cortisol, as Dr. Nick shared with us, right? Like you're not gonna give your time away so willy nilly once you do that, because you're realizing like, man, like my time is limited and I have things I want to do, I have goals I want to achieve, and right now the way my life is set up, I mean, I'm not being intentional enough. So I think, to answer your question, sitting down and looking at where is your 24 hours in a day going, um, because in the midst of doing that, right, taking action, you're actually sitting with yourself. So it's like you're
uh
you see what I'm saying?
Two birds, one
So
stone.
you're doing it as you're actually doing something else. And a lot of times we're giving so much of ourselves to our jobs, to our relationships, that we don't have time where we just sit there and just breathe. So I think and analyzing your 24 hours would be a great way to start sitting with yourself. And then, every week say, okay, what do I intentionally want to do this week that I didn't do last week? Something small. And I'll give one other gem. Use your alarm. Everyone has their phone on them at all times. Set an alarm every hour with something small. Like, I'm going to think about something to be grateful for in the next 30 seconds. And you think, man, I was able to wake up this morning. I'm out. I'm attacking my day. This is something that I had trouble doing in the past. Great job. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now you just accomplished another goal, right? Something simple. Set it on repeat, a daily reminder, and just do one little thing. So use your timer and then break down your day to 24 hours. Those are my two, I guess, tools that I would, implement today, because it's all about acting in the now.
Yeah, I think for me, I love those ideas, Kevin. And I think what has worked well for me has been, you know, one, writing down uh, my thoughts. I think that has
Mhm.
been the most important thing that has really helped me transition to this mindset and this growth process that I've undergone has been, journaling and really writing down just three intentions, just three that I want to accomplish today. And I typically write those actually the night before, because when you do that, your brain, its subconscious is working even while you're sleeping, so that when you wake up in the morning, you are feeling a lot more focused and ready to attack the day. It remembers you telling it, hey, tomorrow I want to make sure I'm speaking less and listening more. Or tomorrow I'm going to spend less time on social media and making sure that I put do not disturb on when I'm in meetings, so I'm staying focused. It's amazing when you wake up with those intentions that you had set the night before, how you're feeling a lot more focused and ready to attack the day. Otherwise, prior, I would just wake up and be like, what do I got to do today? What do I got to do? And sometimes it's even helpful for me to be like, hey, tomorrow I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to effing relax. Yeah, I deserve it. And when you're like intentional about even writing that, it helps you just focus on relaxing, because we need to do that from time to time. We don't always need to be worried about doing things. So, the key message here is to just write down 3 intentions that you have to do, and try to focus on getting those things done. Before, I would have like a list of 10 things I wanted to accomplish, and I would only accomplish one thing. And then I would feel like crap all day, because I'm like, dude, I didn't accomplish all 9 of these things. And so it's really about being intentional about how you want to attack the day, how you want to remain focused, and getting your mindset, in the right realm, training your brain every morning, because it's a battle out there, guys. As you don't know where you're getting these attacks that are coming to your brain from, that are going to
Facts.
disrupt your focus. It's coming from all sorts of directions, and it's those ones that are unexpected, those interactions that you have with others, that you get this bad projection put onto you, and then your day is like shaken. Your focus is gone, But if you have trained your brain in the morning to, like, level out your cortisol and adrenaline levels, not looking at social media and TV, doing a little meditation and listening to what your thoughts are, how you're feeling, checking in with your emotions, like, hey, am I feeling a little anxious today? Maybe I should do a little bit of more of a meditation before I reach out, or maybe I should be less interactive today, because I have a lot going on in my brain, and I don't want others to disturb that, or me project onto others and have this whole negative cycle start up. Right. So it's
Yeah.
just tuning in with yourself and focusing on yourself just a little bit every morning. That will allow you to be more focused and more intentional about everything that you're trying to accomplish that day.
No, I was just gonna say, basically, love yourself. Take time to love
Yeah.
yourself
Simple. Love yourself.
Well said.
before anything else.
I think that's a
Now, what were you
beautiful.
gonna say though, Kevin?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Nick, like you said earlier, he's on fire. You said something that was so crucial, that I was guilty of doing, and I'm an open book. I used to make these long to-do lists of things I want to accomplish, right? Bedros Keuilian, he's a guy that I look up to, listen to,
Yep.
great business mind, right? He has something called a GSD list, which is a get shit done list, right? So I would make my GSD list in the morning, and next thing you know, it's like 20 things long. And I'm just like, oh man, I'm overwhelmed. What I started doing is making a list of 3. And that's exactly what Nick told us to do. And once you
Oh,
hit those 3 things, man, you feel so great. You feel so great. And now you can do other things because you feel great. You have momentum, you have energy, right? And now you're trying to impact others. Like, how do I make other people feel better about their day, right? Now you're trying to also inspire others. You know what I mean? So that was a gem. I just wanted to shed light on that. That simple thing will make people successful, honestly.
And Chris, I love what you said. Focus and love yourself. Put
Yep.
yourself as your number one focus. And I promise you, so many great manifestations will happen for you. You'll lead the life of your dreams. You will accomplish all the goals that you have set out to accomplish if your focus is on yourself, and how
Mhm.
to go about your day, and how to train your brain to do the things that it needs to do, so that you can attack the day with intentionality. And that literally has changed my life.
You just defined focus.
Yeah.
What is focus? Focus is being able to prioritize yourself and be able to do that consistently and act intentionally on a daily basis.
Yep. Everything else just falls into place.
Yeah.
But look, man, I think that was an amazing podcast, guys. Thank you so much. Amazing insight. Hopefully, our audience and our viewers